Hallelujah. You can have your seat in the presence of the Lord and put your hands together. Glory be to God in the highest. Hallelujah. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. Glory be to God. Hallelujah. Open your Bible to the book of 2 Kings chapter 4. I just want to go straight into the word. I have so many things I want to share with us today. Since it's Mother's Day, I want us to look at the tales of three mothers. The tale of three mothers. Since today is the Mother's Day, we are going to take a break today from our series. We're going to look at the tales of three mothers in the Bible. So if you have your Bible, open to the book of 2 Kings chapter 4. Throughout the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, the Bible is sprinkled with stories of mothers in the Bible. If you look at the Old Testament, you will see a woman by the name of Hannah. She was barren for a couple of years. She go to the temple year after year to pray. And on one occasion, she decided to make a vow to God. If you give me a son, I will dedicate the son to you. And the Bible says, and God blessed her with a son, and she named the son Samuel, that became one of the greatest prophets in the Old Testament. If you look at another woman in the New Testament by the name of Elizabeth, the Bible says Elizabeth and Zachariah were righteous. They were both righteous and blameless before God. But Elizabeth was barren. But at a particular time, while Zachariah was ministering before God, the Bible says an angel appeared and said to Zachariah, your prayer has been heard. Your wife is going to be pregnant. And she will give birth to a son. And you should name the son John. And John the Baptist, Jesus said, was one of the greatest of all the people of God that ever lived. John the Baptist. So when you look through the Bible from Genesis to Revelation, the Bible is sprinkled with tales of mothers in the Bible. So today I want us to look at the tales of three mothers. One of the things that you need to understand when it comes to mother or mothering the child is mothers are protective. Mothers are protective of their child. I think the reason why is because they are the one that incubate the child for 9 months. Do you know what it takes for a child to have? Sometimes I wonder how they are able to carry a baby in their belly for 9 months. I know the discomfort that is going to be there. Because if you have a flat belly and the belly start coming out and start growing, I know there is a lot of stretching. There is a lot of stretching the skin. There is a lot of discomfort. That is why they crave for so many things when they are pregnant. Because there is a lot of discomfort. So if you really look deeply into why it is that mothers are protective, I believe is one, because of the discomfort they went through during pregnancy. But if you look at the story that we're about to look at this morning, I want you to pay close attention to these three mothers. And you will see the things that make them to be similar, and you will see the things that make them to be different. You will see the contrast in these three mothers, and you will see the similarities in these three mothers. Are you in 2 Kings chapter 4? Let's start the reading from verse 1. The tale of three mothers. The wife of a man from the company of the prophets cried out to Elisha. Now I want you to circle it. The wife of a man, circle the wife of a man from the company of the prophets cried out to Elisha, your servant, my husband, is dead. The wife of a prophet. The wife of a prophet. Why? Because the prophet is serving under another prophet by the name of Elisha. So here the wife went to Elisha and is saying that my husband, your servant, is dead. So what does that make the woman? A widow. So a widow went to the prophet and said to the prophet, your servant, my husband, is dead. Why is the woman complaining about the husband that is dead to the prophet? Let's read on. And you know that he revered the Lord, or he feared the Lord. But now his creditor is coming to take my 2 boys as a slave. The widow ran to the prophet and said to the prophet, my husband, your servant, is dead, and you know that he feared the Lord. But the creditor, they are coming to take away my 2 boys to be their slave. So that means when the man was alive, if I put it in our modern terms, when the man was alive, he went to the bank to borrow money for business, and he did not fully pay the credit, he did not fully pay the bank loan before he died. So now that he's dead, the bank is not going to say, oh, okay, we understand that, okay, you took a credit from us, now he's dead, we are writing up the loan. No, the bank always wants theirs. The creditor always wants theirs. Just like the IRS. They will always get theirs. That is why they will always, before they give you what is yours, they take what is theirs. So the creditor are coming to take the 2 boys as the collateral to serve the remaining term of the loan. Now, look at what the prophet says. Look at what the prophet says to the woman. Elisha replied to her, how can I help you? Now the creditors are coming to take your sons as their slave. How can I help you? What do you want me to do for you? What do you want me to do for you? How can I help you? Tell me, what do you have in your house? What do you have in your house? Your servant has nothing there at all. Pay attention to that. She's answering the prophet Elisha, and she said, your servant has nothing. Prophet said, what do you have? She said she has nothing. But she has nothing but a small, look at, a small jar of olive oil. There is no one living on the face of the earth that does not have anything. You have something. But because the thing that you have is insignificant to you, you overlook what you have. The only people that does not have anything are the ones that are dead. As long as you are living, you have something. But because it's insignificant, you overlook it. Your servant has nothing except a small jar of olive oil. A small jar of olive oil. I don't have a jar here. I believe a small jar of olive oil is small. A small jar of olive oil is small. She said, all I have is a small jar of olive oil. Now the question is, will the small jar of olive oil, will he be able to pay off the credit that my dead husband owes? Because when the prophet is asking the woman, what do you have? The prophet is not asking the woman to have something significant or something big that she will be able to use to pay off the credit. The prophet is asking the woman, what do you have? She said she has nothing but a small jar of oil. A small jar of oil. Now look at what the prophet says to us. 2 Kings chapter 4, verse 3. Elisha said, go around and ask all your neighbors for empty jars. What does she have? A small jar of olive oil. Now the prophet is not saying to her, go all around to your neighbors and go borrow jars. How is this going to happen? You have a small jar. It's like, how many of you remember the feeding of the 5,000 when Jesus fed the 5,000? They came to Jesus and they said, the disciples came to Jesus and they said to Jesus, man, it's getting late. Can you tell all these people to go away so that they can get food? Jesus said, no, you feed them. Number one, they did not plan in the morning that they were going to feed 5,000 people. But Jesus said, you feed them. But the Bible now says something that we must pay attention to. For Jesus himself knew what he was about to do. So Jesus knew that there was going to be a young boy in their midst that has 5 loaves and 2 fish. And Jesus knew that the 5 loaves and 2 fish, the moment they commit it into his hands, is going to multiply, so that the 5,000 men, without counting the women and the children, will be able to eat and be satisfied. The same miracle is what we are reading here. Why? Because the things that is insignificant, when you put it in the hand of God, God can blow it up. So what you have that you are overlooking, when you place it in the hands of God, God is able to blow it up. The prophet says to the woman, go to all your neighbors and borrow jars. The woman, I believe the woman will be, I'm coming to you, I'm telling you, they are coming to take my sons. And what you are saying to me is, what do you have in your house? And I'm saying to you, I have a small jar. You are now telling me to go borrow jars? No, that is not. Call for money to fall from heaven so I can pay these people and they leave my sons. No, but the prophet knows what he's doing. I can pay your debt and you don't have anything left. When God blesses you, God does not bless you just to meet your needs. He blesses you so that you can abound with more. Go borrow vessels. Go borrow jars. Don't ask for just a few. The prophet is saying to the woman, don't ask for just a few. Then go inside and shut the door behind you and your sons. Pour oil into all the jars, and as each is filled, put it on the side. Verse 5, she left him, shut the door behind her and her sons. And they brought the jar to her, and she kept pouring. And all the jars were full. She said to her son, bring me another one. But he replied, there is not a jar left. Then the oil stopped flowing. What do you think will be going on in the mind of the woman that has a small jar of oil, that went to her neighbors to borrow a whole lot of jars, and she started pouring the oil from a small jar, and she poured it to one jar, the jar was filled, and she set it on the side, and the oil continues to flow as she kept pouring it from the jar. What do you think will be going on in the mind of the woman? This is amazing. This is mind-blowing. Because if you have a small jar of oil, and the small jar of oil, let's say she has 10 jars. The small jar of oil now fills another 10 jars. That is miracle on itself. But miracle will not happen if you don't follow godly instructions. Miracle will not happen if you don't follow godly instruction. The prophet specifically gave her instructions that she must follow. Go to your neighbors and borrow jars. The problem with people in church is that they will come to church, they will listen to instruction, but they will not carry out the instruction. And the Bible says it is not the hearer of the word that is blessed, but the doer of the word. What if she went to the prophet and the prophet says to her, go to town, borrow jars, and she went back home and sat down? Will she experience the miracle she's experiencing? The problem with us and the people in church is they come to church, they hear what God is saying to them, but they do nothing about it. And I've said it times without number to us in this church that your miracle is in your notes. Your breakthrough that you are looking for is actually in your notes. If you would take time to read the notes that you have taken and put an action behind those notes, you will begin to see miracle. The first step to your breakthrough is listening to instruction and carrying out the instruction. Look at the next thing that happens. She started pouring it, but guess what? The woman did not do it on her own. There was participation. The sons were part of the miracle. The sons were part of the miracle. That is why when it comes to our service and our serving the Lord, we must make sure every member of our household is involved. No matter how small they are, they must be involved. Our sons were involved. Participation. Now look at verse 7. After she has followed the first instruction, she went back to the man of God. Now I have done what you have asked of me to do. What next? What next? See, the problem with a lot of people is they hear one instruction and they don't go back to hear next instruction. And because of that, you miss out on the full breakthrough that you're supposed to enjoy. What next? Now look at what the man of God says. She went and told in verse 7, she went and told the man of God what had happened, and he said, go, sell the oil and pay your debt. You and your sons can live on what is left. Go and sell the oil, pay your debt, and you and your sons can live on the rest. So God does not just want to meet your need, He wants to do much more than meet your need. Because your husband is dead does not mean God will not take care of you. That is a tale of one of the mothers that we are looking at. Now, if you look at this story, she's a widow, she's in debt, she has 2 sons. She's a widow, she's in debt, she has 2 sons. Now let's look at the next tale. Same chapter, verse 8. One day, Elisha went to Shunem, and a well-to-do woman was there. Did you see the contrast? Did you see the contrast? The first woman or the first mother was a widow. She's in debt. And what's the third one? Has 2 sons. She's a widow, she's in debt, and has 2 sons. Or we can say she's a widow, she's poor, and she has 2 sons. Now this is another woman that we are looking at. She's rich. Let's read it further. One day Elisha went to Shunem, and a well-to-do woman was there, who urged him to stay for a meal. So whenever he came by, he stopped there to eat. And she said to her husband, I want you to start writing this down. She's what? She's wealthy. She's rich.
She's married.
She's married. She's influential. She's rich. She's married. She's influential. Okay? She said to her husband, I know that this man who often come our way is a holy man of God. Let us make a small room on the roof and put in it a bed and a table, a chair and a lamp for him. Then he can stay there whenever he comes to us. Now this is the woman that is now talking to the husband. Saying to the husband, I perceive that this man is a man of God. Let us do this, let us do that. Influencing the husband. One day when Elisha came, he went up to his room and lay down there. He said to his servant Gehazi, call the Shunammite. So he called her and she stood before him. Elisha said to his servant, tell her, you have gone to all this trouble for us. Now what can be done for you? Can we speak on your behalf to the king or the commander of the army? Look at what the prophet is saying. Same prophet, different women. Same prophet, different women. Look at the approach. To one, he says to them, what can I do for you? Right? To this woman, he's saying, can I speak to someone for you? They are both in a different category. They are both in a different horizon. One is poor, one is rich. One is influential, one is not. Look at the answer of the woman. She replied, I have a home among my own people. No, I'm okay. Have you ever met people that they believe they are okay, that they don't need any help from you? They believe they have it all together, they don't need your help? She said, no, I'm okay. But guess what? No matter how high you get in life, there is always a need that you might not want to share with people. That is why the rich will tell you that even get is lonely at the top. You get to the top, you now realize, wow, all these things that I'm running around for, after getting it, it's still nothing. Why? Because there is a void in the heart of man that can only be filled by God. I have a home among my people, so I don't need any help. But guess what? The prophet knows something is not right. Something is wrong. And the prophet probed further. What can be done for her? Elisha asked Gehazi. And Gehazi said, look at that. She has no son. She has no son. Pay attention and don't miss this. The first woman, she was a widow. She was in debt. She has 2 sons. This woman here, she's married. She's rich. She's influential. She has no son. Isn't it amazing that the one has what the other does not have? One does not have what the other has. The one that has 2 sons does not have money. The ones that have money does not have a son. It's amazing how God can meet our needs differently. Just as our faces are different, so is our needs. And God can meet our needs differently. If you look at this woman from the outside and if you don't know her, you will think all is well. If you look at the rich from the outside, you will think all is well. not knowing that there are some things behind the closed door that they are actually fighting. Because they have money does not mean all is well. She's rich, she's married, she's influential, she has no son. She's a widow, she's in debt, she has 2 sons. Now look at what happened. Verse 15. Then Elisha said, call her. So he called her and she stood in the doorway. About this time next year, Elisha said, you will hold a son in your hands. You will hold a son in your hands. Look at what she said. No, my Lord, she objected. Please, man of God, don't mislead your servant. She has been in the predicament for so long, she's now used to it. I'm good. Don't mislead your servant. I might not have a son, but I have money. I have influence. I'm married. I'm enjoying my life. I have gone through all what I can go through to get a son, but it's not happening. So don't put my hopes up. I'm good. But your deeds will always speak for you. What prompted what the prophet is saying and doing? Because of the seed that she has sown. To feed the man of God. To put a roof over the man of God's head. That is why the things that you do for your man of God will always prompt a blessing on your behalf. By this time next year, you will carry a son in your hand. Don't pump me up, sir. I'm good. But look at what happened, verse 17. But the woman became pregnant the next year, and about the same time, she gave birth to a son. Just as Elisha had told her. Verse 18. The child grew, and one day he went to his father, who was with the reaper. And he said to his father, my head, my head. His father told the servant, carry him to his mother. The child was with the dad, and the dad will do what the dad will always do. Say, go to your mom, go to your mom. Anytime they are sick, what do we do? Well, ask your mom for, well, go to your mom. So we are not the one that started that. He has always been.
Mother's Day.
He has always been. Say, go to your mom. My head. His father told the servant, carry him to his mother. After the servant had lifted him up and carried him to his mother, the boy sat on a lap until noon, and then he died. What do you do when you hold in your hands the death of a promise? What do you do when something that used to bring you joy now turns to a thing of sorrow? What do you do? When the things that make you laugh and smile now become the thing that makes you frown, what do you do? You know what you do? You keep the faith. Keep the faith. She sat on her mother's lap until noon, and then he died. And she went up and laid him on the man of God's bed. Guess what? When she was doing it, I believe she did not realize that one day this is going to happen. When she was doing it, when she was doing what she was doing at first for the man of God, she wasn't expecting a child out of what she was doing. She wasn't expecting that one day the child that she was going to receive is going to die. And that she was going to go put him up there in the room that she actually made for the man of God. But when the boy died, she took the boy and laid him on the bed of the man of God, and he called and he said to the husband, send me, verse 22, send me one of the servants and the donkey so I can go to the man of God quickly and return. Why God? Look at the man. The man is even clueless. The man is clueless. The man does not know what is going on. Why do you have to go to him quickly? Why do you have to go to him today? It is not the new moon or the Sabbath. Look at the answer of the woman. That's all right. Just continue doing what you're doing. That's all right, she said. She saddled the donkey and said to her servant, lead on. Don't slow down for me unless I tell you. So she went out and came to the man of God at Mount Carmel. When he saw her in the distance, the man of God said to his servant Gehazi, look, there is the Shunammite. Run to meet her and ask her, are you all right? Is your husband all right? Is your child all right? Look at the answer of the woman. Everything is all right, she said. Is everything all right? No. She just lost her son. And she's going to the man of God to complain. And when the servant of the man of God showed up and asked, is everything all right? Guess what she said? Everything is all right. Why? Because our faith is more than our condition. Our faith is stronger than our condition. Our faith is stronger than what she's going through. Everything is all right. When she reached the man of God at the mountain, she took hold of his feet. Gehazi came over to push her away, but the man of God said, leave her alone. She's in bitter distress, but the Lord has hidden it from me and has not told me why. Look at what she said. Did I ask you for a son, my Lord? She said, didn't I tell you, don't raise my hopes? I didn't ask you for a child. I didn't ask you for a son. But you decided that you are going to speak into my life to receive the blessing of a son. Now I've received the blessing of a son, and it seems as if the blessing has now turned to a curse. Now the son that I've received is dead. Did you see the contrast between the two women? She was in debt, she was a widow, she has two sons. The two sons did not die, but the creditors were coming to get the sons to become their slave. And she quickly ran to the man of God. The instinct of a mother will always protect their children. Mothers will always run out to protect their children. And if you look at this second woman, she was rich, she was influential, she was married, she doesn't have a son, and when she now has a son, and the son died, the first place that she went to is to the man of God. And I told you so, don't raise my hope. But to the glory of God, the son was brought back to life based on what the man of God did. Prayed for the son, and the son was brought back to life. When you are looking at these two tales, you can easily see that mothers are always after the good of their children. Mothers are always after the good of their children. It might not look like it to the child, it might not look like it to the children in the house, but they are always after the good of their children. Now let's look at the last mother in the Bible. Let's go to the New Testament. Mark chapter 7. Mark chapter 7. If you are there, say I'm there.
I'm there.
Mark chapter 7. Jesus left that place and went to the vicinity of Tyre. He entered a house and did not want anyone to know it. Yet he could not keep his presence secret. In fact, as soon as she heard about him, a woman whose little daughter was possessed by an impure spirit came and fell at his feet. Did you see this third woman? Jesus was trying to keep his presence secret, but the moment this woman heard about Jesus being in town, she ran straight to Jesus. A woman with little daughter whose a little daughter was possessed by an impure spirit, came and fell at his feet. The woman was a Greek. So the woman was not a Jew. The woman was not an Israelite. The woman was a Greek, a Syrophoenician woman. She begged Jesus to drive the demon out of her daughter. She begged Jesus. Mother's instinct, mother's love. She begged Jesus to drive the demon out of her daughter. First, let the children eat all they want, he told her, for it is not right to take the children's bread and toss it to the dogs. What is Jesus indirectly saying? I can't give the blessing that belongs to my children, I can't give it to an outsider. I have to bless my children first before I open my eyes and decide I want to bless an outsider. If your friend comes to my house to spend the night and I want to make dinner and they say, oh, we want pancake, and I have just 12 pancakes left, or let's say 9 pancakes left, who do you think in my right mind will I want to make the 9 pancakes for first? My kids. And I'll say, okay, you guys eat, let me go. I'm sorry, we don't have enough, I'm going to look for something else to cook for you. Right? That is what's going on here. Jesus is saying to her, you know what? I cannot give the blessing that belongs to the children, the ones that has the right covenant. I cannot give their children to one that is outside of the covenant. I cannot toss the bread of the children to the dog. And guess what the woman said? Because of the mother's instinct. Lord, she replied, verse 28, even the dogs under the table eat the children's crumbs. This mother is not going to give up. This mother is not going to relent. That is why you will see on TV. How many of you have seen on TV? Oh, somebody just got shot. He was doing the wrong thing and he got shot, and the mother showed up. Well, the mother will not say it's a bad child. They will always tell you it's a good child. Even if you go shoplift and accidentally he was shot and he died, the mother is not going to say it's a bad child. The mother is always going to say it's a good child. Why do you think the mother is saying it's a good child? Because nobody knows the child like the mother do. So everybody can say he or she is bad, but to the mom, he is a good child. The mother's instinct, just like I said, will always protect their children. The mother's instinct will always long for the well-being of their children. Even the dog will eat from the crumb that fall from the master's table. And look at what Jesus said. Jesus said, wow, I have never seen such a faith in Israel. Then he told her, for such a reply you may go. The demon has left your daughter because of your persistence. Because of your persistence, the demon has left your daughter. Mothers, you need to persist when it comes to upholding your daughters, your sons in the place of the Spirit. The fulfillment of their dreams is in your hands. What if the first woman have decided that, you know what, let them go serve for how many months they can serve for to cover the debt that their father owed before he died? What if the second woman have said, or the second mother have said, you know what, my son is dead, let's go bury him? What if this third mother that we are reading about now have said, you know what, I've been living with it all this time anyway, and Jesus said we are dogs, so, well, let's continue to live with it. But all of these three mothers, they persisted. They persisted. In what area are you willing to persist to see the full manifestation of God's glory in the life of your children? In what areas are you going to seek God's face to see the full manifestation of God's glory in the life of your children? Are you going to give up because things are not looking the way you want it to look? As a mother, we need to pray. Mothers need to pray. Pray for your children. And not just your biological children. Pray for your spiritual children. Pray for the ones that God has placed in your care. Pray for them. Pray for them. Protect them. Guide them. Correct them when they need correction. Why? Because God placed them in your life for a reason. God does not make an accident. God placed them in your life for a reason. Protect them. Pray for them. Correct them if they need correction. When you look at the life of these three women, you can see the things that are parallel in their life. They are all consistent when it comes to taking care of their children. When it comes to taking care of the things that belong to them, which is their children, which is their child, they are consistent in pursuing, in seeking God for making sure that things are okay with their children or with their child. As mothers, mothers need to get to, I kept saying we. Well, I'm a mother too. Mothers need to get to a place whereby they start looking for the good of their offspring. While we are praying this morning, we prayed a prayer about we live in a dispensation whereby mothers are constantly looking after or seeking after a living, and they are living out their legacy. They are living their legacy to be raised by TVs. They are living their legacy to be raised by social media. No, it's time for mothers to get back to what God has called them to be the mother. To be the mother. Pray for your children. Lift them up before God. What they become in life points back to you. Lift them up before God. Commit them to God. Constantly pray for them. Don't give up on them. Don't relent in the place of prayer. Whatever you want them to do, you start doing it. You start doing it. You want them to fulfill the will of God for their life, then you start pointing them to God's will for their life. I believe we have learned a lesson through these three women that we looked at in the Bible this morning. We've seen the area whereby their lives are parallel, and we've seen the areas whereby their lives are in contrast. But one thing remains the same. They all sought after God. They all sought after God. Are we, as a church, going to seek after God? Are the mothers going to seek after God? We need to seek after God if we want a better life for our children. Mothers need to seek after God if they want a better life for their children. Can we bow down our head this morning? Let us pray. I just want you to pray for the mothers. Pray for them this morning that God will give them the heart to seek after Him. Give the mothers the heart to seek after you. The betterment of their children is in their seeking after God. To lead the children in the way and to train them in the way of the Lord will be determined by the way they seek after God. Can you just pray for the mothers this morning? Can you just ask that God give each and every of the mother in this church the heart to seek after you, so they can train their children in the way of the Lord? This is our prayer this morning, oh God. Committing every mother in this church into your hands, that you will give them the heart to seek after you. We saw this morning in your word how these three mothers sought after you for the betterment of their children. Lord, we pray in the name of Jesus that every mother in Graceland House of Hope, you will give them the same heart to seek after you, O God. They will not give up, they will not relent, they will not quit, they will not give in, but Lord, they will be persistent when it comes to seeking after you. They will be persistent when it comes to raising their children right. They will be persistent when it comes to building their homes. They will be consistent when it comes to building